Feels like every single day we're reading more and more headlines and articles and watching more videos about the idea of loot boxes within video games and just how intrusive they're becoming. However, as of yesterday, 19 hours ago, according to my screenshot, there or thereabouts, Dauntless announced they were getting rid of loot boxes, which is really interesting. Apparently, according to Jesse Houston, who's the co-founder and the executive producer on Dauntless, said they read a recent Ars Technica article and then were like, they don't want to be one of those companies that has loot boxes. Which is an interesting kind of stance to take, especially after Shadow of Mordor, Battlefront 2, and a lot of other games coming under fire for basically just being a loot box system. You know, apparently their initial loot box system was added in years ago, and they never really thought about it. Now they're trying to look at games like Warframe, which is another free-to-play game, which is do really well, and a lot of people respect their free-to-play model, which is fair, but also means that you can just chase the things you want rather than opening a random box and hoping you get the things you want. It's a nice system, and hopefully Dauntless seems to be going towards that. Houston said that he doesn't want to build a game that folks expect and are okay with. He wants to build a game where people get behind the choices they make, and they want to believe in what they do and do it for the right reasons. And I think that's good. It's where a lot of games need to go these days, instead of just being like, oh, we need loot boxes because that's the best way to monetize. You know, it shouldn't all be about that. It shouldn't all be about how much money you can make. It should be about the quality of your video game and how you can make people happy with it. I mean, if we look at Shadow of War and how that's going to now be forever marred by its loot boxes, its fourth act and its endgame are going to constantly have these microtransactions breathing down its neck. And then what happens when the servers go offline? Because that'll happen eventually. You know, you'll end up with a game that needs these loot boxes in order to continue, but you can't get them because the servers are off. And that's terrible, that's awful. That game will forever be scarred by a business model that is just entirely predatory and not very nice. You know, I mean, look at Battlefront 2, an always online game that, well, I think it's always online. I know it has a campaign, but you know, everyone plays it for the multiplayer. That's just going to be marred by the pay-to-win systems. And eventually, people will get everything and it'll kind of fade out, but that's not the point. You know what I mean? It's still going to be forever changed by the fact that anytime you want to play it normally, or every time a new player does get in, they're going to have to go through their loot box economy to actually progress. And it's nice to see that free-to-play games such as Dauntless, which naturally requires a lot of grind, which, you know, is kind of has that setup for having these kind of fast-forward microtransactions within it, seems to stray away from loot boxes, which on one hand means that players will probably end up spending less money, but on the other hand, it means that the player-developer relationship is better in the long run, and hopefully it goes like the way of Warframe, in which people will just spend lots of money on it because they want to, not because they feel they need to. You know, and that's always good. I like this. This is good. I feel like that if every developer thought like this, thought that they want to create a game that feels good for the players and is, you know, is something that players can get behind, then I feel like the industry would be a lot better as a whole. Unfortunately, your bigger publishers will never do that. They'll look at the best way to make money. They don't look at the best way to make a decent game, and that's a huge issue. Maybe one that one day we'll fix, but I very much doubt it. You know. At least not for a long time. But no, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Other things. Apparently this is coming in alongside a Forge Your Legend update, which is coming this year, which adds a new tutorial and a Halloween-themed event, and it's, yeah, that's good. Unfortunately, the game is still in closed beta, and they're having an open beta apparently sometime in 2018, but, you know, I'm sure some of us can wait, and those that got into the closed beta, that's always good. Yeah. Also, during December, there's going to be another one, which is going to apparently have a revamped combat progression, 2 new behemoths, a new weapon type. Players will be able to upgrade their equipment through new progression systems, and it's going to add a lot more depth to combat, which is good. They're also adding more weapon skins and stuff like that. Nice. So, you know, there's a lot of changes coming. There's a lot of good changes, and I hope that, you know, it sticks on this path, and we see a very decent free-to-play Monster Hunter type game come out of this. I mean, I know we've got a Monster Hunter World coming out soon, but that's going to be a paid entry thing. So I feel like for people that don't have a lot of disposable income and just want to have a free-to-play game that they don't feel committed to, this is always going to be a good choice. And I hope that they succeed in whatever they're doing, because they obviously care about making a quality product and not just about how much money they can make off people, which is good, you know, which is always a good thing. I do love reading a nice headline.